So this is how it begins, not with a game winner, not with a championship ring, but with a whisper that turns into a roar. When Steph Curry, one of the most respected names in basketball history, stepped forward, not to talk about himself, not to promote a product, but to defend Caitlin Clark, the silence that haunted the WNBA was finally broken. It wasn't planned. It wasn't PR. It was personal, and it shocked the entire sports world. Why would Curry, a man with nothing to prove, risk his brand, his image, to take a stand on an issue that the league itself refused to touch? Because he had seen enough. Caitlin Clark was being hunted. On the court, every game became a war zone. Cheap shots, brutal fouls, and targeted aggression were becoming her new normal. She wasn't just being defended, she was being punished for her fame, for her skill, for daring to be excellent in a league still adjusting to her kind of stardom. The referees swallowed their whistles. The league kept their heads down, and the WNBA's leadership completely silent. And off the court, it was even worse. Sports commentators, once thrilled by her highlight reels, began shifting tones. Articles filled with coded language questioned her attitude, her place, her ability to handle the league. Talking heads debated if she was overhyped. All this while she was single-handedly boosting attendance, breaking TV records, and bringing eyeballs the league had never dreamed of before. But instead of protecting their golden goose, the WNBA let her fend for herself. No disciplinary actions, no media statements, no league-wide campaign to back her up. Nothing. It was abandonment in plain sight, and everyone saw it. Everyone, including Steph. So when he finally spoke, it wasn't press soundbite. It was a thunderclap. Caitlin Clark is the real deal, he said. And it's time the league started treating her like it. Those words didn't just echo. They exploded. Social media lit up. Analysts paused. The fans who felt something was deeply wrong finally had a megaphone louder than any press release. And it came from the greatest shooter to ever play the game. It wasn't just that Steph defended her. It's that he condemned the system. He didn't ask politely for better treatment. He called out the NBA's failure. Loudly, directly, with no room for interpretation. This was about justice, fairness, and truth. It was about calling a league to account for the way it was treating its brightest star. And the timing couldn't have been more perfect or more painful. Caitlin had just endured one of the roughest stretches of her career. Physicality had crossed the line. Her groin injury became a metaphor for the league's indifference. The public was already questioning if the WNBA even valued her contributions. Then Curry came in, not just to support her, but to validate every frustration fans had been screaming about for weeks. This wasn't your average NBA player giving props. This was a 4-time champion, 2-time MVP, Olympic gold medalist, and cultural icon backing her with his full chest. And when someone like Steph Curry speaks, the basketball world listens, because his words don't come cheap. He built his legacy from the ground up. His influence isn't bought, it's earned. But the storm didn't stop there. LeBron James stepped up next. "She's a game changer," he declared. And when LeBron says those words, the industry shifts. It's the equivalent of a king blessing a knight before battle. Caitlin wasn't just being acknowledged, she was being anointed. Then came Luka Doncic. She's the best active women's player. Just like that. No fluff, no qualifiers, just the truth. Coming from one of the top 3 NBA players in the world, that kind of praise isn't casual. It's monumental. Even Trae Young, never one to mince words, chimed in with an invitation that doubled as a statement. A 3-point contest, him and her, at the NBA All-Star Weekend. That wasn't a joke. That was respect. That was recognition. That was basketball royalty extending a hand and saying, "You belong here." Tyrese Halliburton wasn't far behind. He placed Caitlin in the top 5 most famous basketball players across genders. Think about that. Steph, LeBron, Luka, Giannis, and Caitlin Clark. The message was deafening. Caitlin wasn't just rising. She had arrived. And the NBA was more than ready to let her in. The real twist? While the NBA stars shouted her name from rooftops, some WNBA officials and players stayed silent. Still, even after Curry, even after LeBron, as if acknowledging her would cost them something. And maybe for some, it would. The silence was no longer neutral. It was strategic, and it was telling. Because when Jason Tatum was asked about his favorite WNBA player, he skipped her name completely. No nod, no mention, just a cold, impersonal answer that felt like a dismissal. The message was clear. Not everyone was ready to embrace the new queen of the game. And Kevin Durant? He went even further. Asked to name his favorite female athlete. He picked Caitlyn's biggest rival, Angel Reese. It wasn't just a snub. It was a shot. Whether motivated by loyalty, rivalry, or something deeper, it spoke volumes. It was personal, and fans knew it. But even in the shade, Caitlyn shined brighter. Because no amount of shade could dim a spotlight earned through sheer brilliance. Caitlin Clark didn't need a vote of approval from everyone. She already had the numbers, the records, and the fans behind her. She had sold out arenas in cities that had long forgotten the WNBA. She had teenage boys wear her jersey. She had entire families planning their weekends around her game schedule. This wasn't a player riding a wave of hype. She was a tide, lifting an entire league whether it liked it or not. And the reactions to Durant and Tatum's dismissals? Immediate, brutal. Fans took to social media in a frenzy, not just to defend Caitlyn, but to demand answers. Why was the most influential player in the WNBA being ignored by the very athletes who claim to support the growth of the game? Why were stars with massive platforms choosing silence or worse, opposition? It wasn't just disrespectful. It was political, calculated, and the public saw right through it. But Caitlyn, in classic fashion, didn't respond with clapbacks or cryptic tweets. She responded the only way she knew how, by showing up and dominating. Every no-look assist, every deep three, every possession where she made defenders look silly was another chapter in her response. And the message was clear. I don't need your validation. I've already taken the crown. The real power, though, was in how the silence revealed so much more than words ever could. In their refusal to uplift her, certain players accidentally highlighted her impact. Their discomfort wasn't about basketball. It was about disruption. Caitlyn Clark wasn't just another star entering the WNBA. She was a disruptor, rewriting the hierarchy, and not everyone was prepared for that. And while she tore through defenders on the court, she dismantled long-standing narratives off of it. Suddenly, TV broadcasts had to shift. Commentators could no longer pretend parody. She was a story every single night. ESPN segments, first take debates, TikTok highlight reels. She was the algorithm's favorite child, and no filter of league politics could mute that. Even more powerful was a shift in who she inspired. This wasn't just little girls dreaming of the WNBA anymore. It was high school boys mimicking her step back. It was grown men comparing her range to Steph's. It was NBA players publicly admitting, I don't miss her games. The gender line in basketball fandom, Caitlyn blurred it completely. And what started as whispers in forums and Reddit threads became something undeniable. The WNBA had never seen a player shift the culture this drastically, this quickly, and while the league's leadership hesitated, unsure whether to go all in or hold back, the rest of the sports world had already made up its mind. Caitlyn Clark was a WNBA. That truth became unavoidable when even rivals of the WNBA began citing her. European teams, eager to poach top talent, began referencing Caitlyn in recruiting pitches. Come play where stars are celebrated, not silenced. One overseas scout allegedly told an agent. Her name became currency, not just in the US, but globally. Whether the WNBA embraced her fully or not, the rest of the basketball world had. It wasn't long before sponsors started calling too. Major brands that had previously invested only in men's sports were now knocking down Caitlyn's door. Nike, Gatorade, Apple. They weren't interested in waiting for the WNBA's approval. They saw what the league refused to acknowledge. Caitlyn Clark wasn't a player. She was a movement. And movements don't wait for permission. Her endorsement deals skyrocketed. Her face began appearing on billboards in Times Square, in commercials during NBA broadcasts, and in primetime television interviews. She became the bridge between the WNBA and mainstream attention in a way that no marketing department could manufacture. Even more staggering was the loyalty of her fan base. When Clark skipped the WNBA All-Star Weekend due to injury, ticket resale prices dropped nearly 50% overnight. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a reality check for the league, a loud, unapologetic reminder that this wasn't a league-driven surge. This was a Clark-fueled phenomenon. And yet, despite her overwhelming influence, the league's response remained lukewarm. They tiptoed around her name in official statements. She was rarely the centerpiece of WNBA marketing campaigns, even as she led every statistical and social media category. It felt deliberate, cautious, like the league feared going all in on her. But Steph Curry didn't fear it. He embraced it. He led the charge others were too afraid to begin. In doing so, he didn't just defend Caitlin Clark. He exposed the system's failings. He held up a mirror and forced everyone to look. And what they saw was a league unprepared for the star it so desperately needed. Caitlin Clark wasn't here to ask for support. She demanded it without saying a word. Her presence, her performance, and her poise made backing her a necessity, not a choice. And Steph Curry? He was just the first giant to recognize that truth. Others followed, but only after she had already proven what he had the courage to say first, that she wasn't just worthy, she was essential. The fact that such validation had to come from outside the WNBA only made the silence more deafening. But maybe that was the point all along. Maybe the WNBA needed that kind of public shaming to finally step up. And now, with every game, every buzzer beater, every record broken, Caitlin Clark continues to make one thing brutally clear. The silence that once surrounded her has been obliterated, because when Steph Curry speaks, the world listens. And now that he's spoken, the world is watching, closely, relentlessly, and there's no going back. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's rewriting its future. Because while those stars hesitated, the fans made their choice. Ratings exploded, merchandise sales skyrocketed, stadiums sold out. The Caitlin effect wasn't just hype, it was history. And it wasn't slowing down, because Caitlin Clark doesn't play basketball. She transforms it. Every time she steps on the court, she drags the entire sport into the future. Her passes, her vision, her swagger, it's revolutionary. She's not imitating the men's game. She's redefining it on her own terms. And people can't get enough. What makes her even more unstoppable? Her silence. She never claps back, never rants, never posts a pity tweet. She lets her game speak. And every dribble, every shot, every dagger from the logo screams, "You can't ignore me." And now she doesn't have to speak, because Steph Curry is speaking for her. And so is LeBron, and Luka, and Trey, and millions of fans who finally found their voice. Even Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin joined the movement, saying Caitlin generates more fan energy than some NBA stars. That's not hyperbole. That's a shift in cultural gravity. The WNBA isn't just rising, it's orbiting around Caitlin. And with Steph's blessing, the message is clear. Caitlin isn't the female version of anyone. She's the original, the standard, the future. She's not breaking records. She's breaking barriers. So while some stars look away, the world can't. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the conversation. She is the conversation. And this movement, it's only just getting started. So let's ask the question again. What does it mean when Steph Curry puts his full weight behind Caitlin Clark? It means the game is changing forever. And Caitlin's not waiting for permission. She is the revolution. And the world is finally catching up.